I have a pre-approval. Can I buy a property at auction? Is what we're talking about today, the eCentral Business Show. I'm John Naylor. Why are you smiling, Laura Sillano? She's our resident expert mortgage broker, by the way. Now, are we going to do any advice today before we talk about this subject?
No advice.
Okay.
Yep.
So, well, we talk about this in general terms, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, fabulous. All right, let's get on with it then. So, buying at auction, yeah, that comes, it's pretty much unconditional, is it not?
Yeah. And so when the purpose of an auction is that the vendors want to know with certainty that they're going to sell a house. So it's an unconditional situation that you're going into at auction, and so therefore if you have a pre-approval, the pre-approval has not approved that property, it hasn't had a valuation done on it or anything like that, and so you're basically going into that property purchase taking a risk that the bank may not like it. Okay,
righto. So, and that's the thing, so you've got to have a lot of confidence around, obviously a lot of certainty in your own mind around
whether they'll take it.
Going to back you. Yeah. Now, obviously, if you've got a larger deposit, where you're not lending, 95%, then that's going to give you a greater level of confidence in an auction purchase to actually take that
risk. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So that's exactly right. If you are a first home buyer and need 95% to buy your first home and have a 5% deposit, I would be suggesting pretty clearly don't buy at auction, because you are buying into an unconditional situation without the lender having actually seen the property. And at 95%, even if you're not a first home buyer and you're doing it as an investor, if you're buying at auction and you're wanting to get 95% and you have no other options, then that's a risky strategy to buy at 95.
Well, it seems probably from my own personal point of view is that if there's a bunch of people bidding on the place and the price has gone through the roof in the last 2 minutes of bidding and you're the outcome winner, then you're paying top dollar for that property. And if it's a 95% land, then valuations aren't going to look that great. That's my personal viewpoint, yeah?
Yeah, if the other viewpoint on auctions is that it's a really good determiner of market value, and it's unlikely that the valuer would see that any differently, like they would, unless there's a really good reason not to value it at the same price that you've actually paid for it. But at 95, regardless, risky strategy.
Yeah, okay. So what are the situations you can turn the tables on the auction process a little bit? Is there anything you can actually do around that unconditional nature?
Not around the unconditional nature of it. So if you buy at auction and you settled on a price, the price is firm, that's it. That's what you're buying it for.
Yeah, sure.
You can't be subject to finance on an auction property. You also can't be subject to pest and building on an auction property. So you can't put in your subject to finance clause, your subject to pest and building clause, or a due diligence clause. The things that you can request, and you need to do this in advance of the auction, so that it's not after you've already won it. You have to ask first, and the vendor needs to agree. The things that you can ask for are a reduced deposit on the day of the auction. So instead of standard 10%, you might say, can I give you 5? And they need to agree that should you win, that yes, they're happy to accept the 5%. And the other thing that you may be able to negotiate prior to entering into the auction is, instead of it being a 30-day standard settlement, you might be able to get a little bit longer.
Okay.
So those are the things that you have the option to negotiate on, but you have to do it prior to auction and get their agreement.
Okay, fair enough. Because I understand that normal mortgage sort of terms, 30 days is actually a bit tight in terms of getting all your finances sorted out from the get-go, even with a pre-approval of some sort,
We're accustomed to working within the 30-day time frame for settlement. For Queensland, which is where I'm based, that's the standard contract. So we would normally get a contract, it would have 14 days finance, 14 days pest and building on it, and then we would settle within 30.
It can be done.
It can definitely be done. It's a lot easier.
My apologies for being cynical about that process of the banks. My apologies.
It's definitely a lot easier, and particularly in this environment, to have all of your ducks in a row and have a pre-approval in place before you actually go to contract, and that will smooth over that process and then give you a little bit of time in case there's anything that we need to deal with during that process that hasn't
Give
been
yourself a
taken.
couple extra days.
Yeah, just buffers in general are a good thing.
Yeah, okay.
You know, so we can do that. Yeah.
And the other thing, but the other question I've got is like, if you can't complete that transaction, it is that deposit that you're going to lose, yeah?
Well, you would be in breach of contract.
Mm.
And that's
So
a
it could
whole
be-
other
could-
world. So
Could be
you,
more serious than just the deposit, yeah?
you'd probably want to speak to a lawyer about,
You're trying to avoid it.
yeah.
Okay.
And that's why auction is so powerful for the vendor, is because they know that they have a solid contract. But it's also, you know, why for the purchaser you need to be confident that you will be able to complete on that contract.
Okay, fabulous. All right. Well, anyway, look, if you are planning to buy at auction and you want to know whether you can do that with the assistance of a lender, bank, need a good mortgage broker.
Yeah.
Okay. How do people contact Laura Sillano and have that conversation?
You can call me on mobile at 0422 320 497, or also you can email through to the office home@podfinancial.com.au.
Okay, fabulous. Another great conversation with Laura Sillano, our resident expert mortgage broker on the eCentral Business Show. We'll speak to you next time.